all the technical difficulties behind the scenes. Dumas or Dumas?
Dumas is fine.
Dumas is fine. Okay. Will
Rankin.
Rankin. Okay. All right. Okay. Y'all guys ready for this? Okay. Here we go. All right. I'm ready. Ready.
You are now tuned in to Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio, where we discuss inspiring and informative news. And now here's your host, Pastor Jerlyn Denny.
Good morning. Good morning. Wake up and good morning. What a wonderful and beautiful day it is. And I'm very excited to have these guests in the studio. And that would be none other than Andy Dumas and Will Rankin. And we're going to be talking about AA. Y'all consider yourself members of AA? I mean, what is that?
Yeah.
Is it a membership, almost like a brother and sisterhood, or?
Well, we like to call it probably what you call your church, more or less a fellowship.
Okay, I like that.
We don't have to sign up to come in. You walk through that door and, when you admit that your life has become powerless over, addiction, then you're a member.
Let's get to that point right there. How do you know you're powerless over the addiction? Is that different for everyone, Andy, or?
Yes, I believe it is different for everyone. With myself, I drank for approximately like 3 months straight, just sitting in my house.
Ooh.
And I would wake up and I'd feel awful. And the only way you can feel better is drink. And so it becomes just a circle, a vicious circle. You have to stay drunk all the time, no matter what you take, pills, aspirin, nothing. Nothing seems to help except alcohol. And then you realize that, like, I can't live without this. So it just takes over your whole life. And that's all I did was just sit there. I didn't eat. I just sat there and drank all day long until I passed out and got up and drank again.
Now, a lot of people will think that that's how all alcoholics are, but we know that's not necessarily the case. A friend of mine is 20 years sober, and she talks about how she would just go all day, didn't drink anything, but as soon as she got off from work, she had to go and get her a bottle.
Yeah.
And every night, that
Right.
was her thing.
Right.
But she was a functioning alcoholic. I don't know if that's such
Yeah,
term or whatever.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're, I don't know if you could necessarily split it into categories, but yeah, functioning alcoholic. I was that way for a long time. I drank for over 25 years and, I still functioned, in a highly sensitive job too, a safety sensitive job as well. And I, never drank it at work, specifically, but, I definitely, when I came home, every night, I couldn't wait to get to the drink, right? So, the problem with addiction is that this disease progresses, right? So the chances are, if you are a true alcoholic or an addict and or both, I consider it really the same thing, but whether you're drugging or drinking or doing both. But this disease is progressive, and if it's left untreated, eventually, it takes a slippery slope downhill, right? So, eventually it becomes fatal.
You talked about the disease, and I guess it was not that long ago. It's not where it was categorized as a disease. Before it was, oh, you just a drunk. Now it's been classified as a disease, and some believe that can be passed on through children from generation to generation. In fact, I was speaking with someone the other day. They were very concerned about one of their children may have alcohol, being alcoholic, and that they have inherited the disease, so to speak, because they couldn't control their need or their urge to use and to have alcoholism. Has it, by it being classified as a disease, do you believe that has given a new level of awareness to alcoholism? And whereas before it was, oh, you're just a drunk, remember, I don't know if you know that back in the day, it was like, oh, you're just a drunk.
Just
Right.
Exactly.
You're nobody but a drunk.
Yeah.
But now it's a disease. They're studying it as a disease. Would you say that you have more resources and things that are allowed now? I mean, how long have you been in AA?
I've 34 years.
34 years. Have you
34
seen
years.
it change and progress over 34 years? in terms of?
Yes, a lot. Yeah. But as far as it being inherited, I mean, I come from a family of 5 from Massachusetts, and nobody in my family drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I call my dad a wedding drinker because he'd have a beer at a wedding. And my 2 sisters didn't drink. My mom, I don't know if she ever had a drink in her life, and then all of a sudden there's me. You know, drank for like 20, like about the same as Will, 25 years, something like that. And so I don't think it was passed on to me. It was just,
Right.
I don't really, even it goes back to my grandfathers and my grandparents, stuff like that. They really didn't drink. I don't know what caused me. I'll never say this particular event caused me to start drinking. I don't know what caused me to start drinking.
And it's not even the start; it's the stop, right?
The stop is
That's
well,
the most.
let's talk about the stop.
okay.
You know, how do you get to the okay? I need to stop doing this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I like what you said, Pastor Jay, about a lot of people, and I was that way too, right? When I, before my drinking really got out of hand, I thought I didn't know the definition of an alcoholic, right? I thought an alcoholic was a bum laying in the street with a paper
Yeah,
sack.
because that's what you think.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
and-
the face of homelessness. People
Yeah.
think that all homeless people
Sure, absolutely.
are murderers and thieves and stuff, and we've got CEOs that are sleeping in cars.
And it was the person that I'm stepping over, and I'm thinking in my own mind, you know what, go get a job, or and so, and I also like what you said about, yes, there is a lot of awareness on it now, and I think that has, become huge over the years because addiction is growing too, right? So,
Right.
But as far as knowing, whether being born an alcoholic, that's a question, and I just
Right.
shared this yesterday in a meeting that, I wish I had the answer to that question, but I don't have the answer. I come from a non-drinking family. My dad, was an airline pilot. My mom had a
Oh yeah, he
success-
couldn't drink.
right, right, and and so whether it's inherited, whether you're born with it, I mean that's a question that I think about very often. But I think what's more important is for me, I just had to realize that I am one. I don't know how I got it. I wish I knew the answer to that, but I don't think that answer will ever come to me. So
Was it easy when you came to the realization I need help? Because I think a lot of people struggle with I need help. That's any addiction.
yeah, absolutely. You're totally correct. And that addictions come in many forms, right? Alcohol, drugs, pornography.
Oh, yeah.
Even shopping, spending money is an addiction.
Uh-oh.
Gambling, of course.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, eating,
Did I?
Uh-oh.
I think I sparked a nerve.
obesity.
Did he say shopping? Uh-oh.
We'd have to look at your budget. but-
I'm in trouble.
but yeah, absolutely. I mean, it comes in many different forms, and yes, it is very difficult coming to the realization that you are, you have addiction, right? Especially in drugs and alcohol, because they are progressive and they are fatal, and so yeah, it was very hard. I worked for a major airline, and just backing up a minute, I've lost 3 really amazing careers over this addiction, right? And my
Wow.
last one, and I burned my life to the ground several times over this, and divorced twice from 2 very beautiful women that loved me and wanted to spend the rest of their life with me, right? So yes, it's very hard coming to the realization and finally, picking up your phone or going to somebody and asking for help. I think we all know in life that, one of the hardest things to do in life is to ask for help, right? So for me, I think that my pain had finally caught up with my fear in addiction. And, I showed up to work for a major airline and in uniform as a flight crew member. And I'd been drinking the night before. Well, it just turns out that one of the gate agents that was getting ready to let us on board the aircraft, smelled alcohol on me. And she called downstairs and to the crew lounge. And of course, they immediately were up there to get me, right? And, took me down for a breathalyzer. And this is about 6 or 7 or 8 hours after I stopped drinking. I still blew a .17.
Yep.
So yeah, I can't even imagine what I was the night before, because I honestly, I didn't really even remember it, right? So, and that's just only a small part of my story. We could sit here for 3 hours and I could tell you stories that would, And Andy
we all
too,
have
'cause-
Andy,
right.
Andy, you got some stories.
And Andy's got some stories, Pastor Jay. I've heard
And
it.
I think when you look at Hollywood, it almost glorifies the drinking and the passing
Yes.
out and the drug use
Yeah.
and the
Yes.
addiction as though it's not anything, but just
Right.
we're just having a party. You
Right.
know, you see kids now are drinking and they're passing out. They think that's the thing to do,
Yep.
Yeah.
but it's a serious thing. It really is a serious issue. We're going to talk some more about that. We got to take a break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't touch that dial. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay. I just decided to take the break right then, Mark, because I was about to get into another topic. How many minutes I have left so I can get an idea? Okay. All right. You guys good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. You are still listening to the best show on WNZF News Radio, and that will be Today with Pastor Jay, and I'm your host. And my guest today is Andy R. Blah, blah, blah. Can I
Blah,
just
blah,
say
blah.
R and you piece it together, Mark?
Yeah.
Can we do that? My guests are Andy Dumas and Will Rankin. Before the break, we was talking about how children now are drinking to pass out and how that's the big thing to do. But this is serious, right?
Very.
Right.
Very, very
Exactly.
serious. So in the AA meetings, is there like an age limit?
No.
Do you have any young people that come in?
I got sober when I was 37 years old, and I was called the kid in the room.
Really?
Yes, and I was amazed at that. I was amazed with being called that. I was 37 years old. Now at the meetings, there's kids 19, 18 years old.
Really?
Yes, in their early 20s.
Oh, wait,
And
is
you
it
see
court ordered and mandated that they have
No.
to be there?
Very few.
Some of it. I mean,
Some of it is?
but
Yes.
not as much as there are voluntary.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, because you sign a paper at the end
Right.
of the meeting. They were there. But there's very few, very little of that. There's people that are coming from other places or whatever, are coming just having a problem, dealing with life today. And they're getting younger and younger and younger all the time. And that's basically what keeps me going. I keep, doing meetings. I make sure that, there is a meeting happening because it's a tough life to live in right now.
Let's talk about the meetings, because how many they're all over Flagler County,
Yes.
right? Okay. So which ones are you guys involved with?
Well, basically, it's the Church on the Rock on Saturday night at 7:00. It's Recovery on the Rock, and Will is running a meeting, the Rule 62 meeting at 7:00 on Tuesday night.
Okay.
So we're doing at least 2 meetings there. We were doing a women's group, and they decided to go to they got a different place
Right.
to go to, which was more convenient for them.
But I'm pretty
But,
sure people can go and look online and
Yeah.
find.
Yeah.
There's
we
one
have-
every day,
we have-
right?
yeah, we have,
Practically somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and we pass out if a new person comes in, we all sign it with our phone numbers, and they can call us anytime.
Oh, that is super cool.
And we have an
Yeah.
app too, the AA
Yeah.
meeting app, and literally when you pull it up on your phone, it'll give you. It knows what day and date you're in, and it'll give you every single meeting for that whole day. And all you got to do is click on it, and then it pops up in your Google Maps, and it'll send you right to it.
That is
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool, because a lot of
So-
times, especially when there's tragedy,
Yeah.
people don't know where to turn,
Right.
and they go,
Right.
"Oh, I'm gonna turn back to the booze."
Right,
You know.
and that's why we always tell them, here's a list of phone numbers, and call any one
Yeah.
of them.
We give them all of our.
Any person will, any person that picks up the phone will help you.
So, Will, how many years have you been sober?
Yeah, I've been sober for 2 years now.
Okay.
I
Praise
got
the Lord.
sober. I'm 55 now. I got sober at 53, and I wish I would have done it sooner, but nothing happens in God's world by mistake, right? And so I'm just thankful for this program. And you kind of touched on it earlier, Pastor Jay. A lot of people come into this. A lot of people don't really know what AA it is, and a lot of people have the misconception that it's a religious program, and it very
Oh
much
yeah,
is.
I feel,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got the 12-step
But
program.
yeah,
and all that. You know,
Is it a-
I have a one-step program. His name is Jesus Christ.
I love it. I love it.
I got a one-step.
I love
That's
it.
with everything. It
But,
doesn't matter what it is. Just
you know,
one
we,
step.
we just try to convey to people that this is definitely not, we're not out there trying to recruit you. This is not a religious program, but it is a spiritual program.
Gotcha.
Right.
And, you know, and this program was founded in 1935 and, you know, helped millions and millions of people, been going over 85 years now. Right. So, but you know, that spiritual program is what the 12 steps are. And they're steps that are set forth to us that we have to live, you know, or principles, you know, that we have to live by daily.
Every day.
Every single day, and that's what recovery is. And you can't have recovery without giving it away, and that's why we do these meetings. It's why we travel
right.
we travel to different detox centers, and I speak every Monday up in St. Augustine, and you know, many others as well. And that's what recovery is all about. I mean, it's all that put together. Otherwise, you can't have it.
Andy, you've been sober for how many years now?
34 years.
34 years.
Yes.
And in those 34 years, have you gone like, you know, I just,
No, actually, I kind of play mind games with my mind. It's like, what would make me drink today?
okay.
Sometimes, and I say, if I win the lottery and somebody says Andy Dumas, you just won $20 million, I'm drinking. I know it, so I just don't buy lottery tickets. You know.
Oh, that's smart.
I'm serious.
No,
really
I mean, if
don't.
you know you yourself and you know what
Yeah.
your limitations are, if somebody gave you $24 million, that makes sense. So don't buy a lottery ticket. I think I'm going to win the lottery,
Yeah, right.
just so you know. But I don't buy lottery tickets
All right, but I'm
either.
not drinking if you do that.
But just so you know, I still think I'm going to win.
Unless
even
you
though,
give me some.
but I'm expecting someone to give me the winning ticket,
Yeah,
just so FYI.
And you're going shopping too.
And I'm going shopping.
Yeah, right.
Not that I have a shopping addiction
No.
or anything.
No.
I have determined myself, though, I'm wearing a different pair of shoes every day until I get them all through. Seriously. I'm see
you
how
go.
many days. So far, we're in a couple of months,
I
but
love
there's
it.
that. But and Will, you've been sober for 2 years.
Yeah.
How is it a struggle every day, or do you now have? I don't want to say have it under control. I don't want to say it that way.
Yeah.
But do you know what presses you every day? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I love that question too. You know, is it a struggle every day? Probably for me, like right now, the answer would be no. But when I was in my first year of sobriety, absolutely, it was a struggle, and I think it was a struggle for me because I didn't really want to admit that I was an alcoholic. Right? I knew I was, but I took anonymous to a whole new level. I didn't want to tell my friends and family that I was going to meetings and that I'm a true alcoholic. Right? And until that, you know, after about the first year or so of my sobriety, I realized that I was really still struggling and still miserable and, you know, still had a desire to drink.
Right.
It was until then that I really, and you know, this program's all about having a good sponsor, right? I got a great sponsor. His name is Kevin. And it was until I really, truly realized that I had to really give myself to this program, kind of like when you give your life to God, right? You can't just fake it,
Right.
you know? And a lot of things were happening to me. Like I went back to school for a real technical part of aviation. I ended up going down there and failing the school. And I realized that I was just trying to prove something to everybody, right? I was trying to be somebody and not become somebody. And I think
Okay.
there's a huge difference.
There is.
But yeah, you know, and to answer your question about struggles, you know, I can give a real short, very clear and concise answer to that a a lot of people in this program have a hard time with. At least I know I did. And that's living just for today.
Right.
You know, if
Yeah.
we live in yesterday, we're always in regret. And if we're worried about tomorrow, you're in fear, right? So the hardest part for me in this phase of my life is just understanding that I only have to get through today.
That's it. That
Yeah.
is absolutely it. You know, because
Right.
tomorro's going to take care of itself.
Right.
Yesterday-
And,
After
tomorrow's
this
not here yet,
It's
right?
not even
And
here.
We might take our last breath tonight. We don't
You
know.
don't even know.
Yep. Get through 24
Just
hours.
get through 24 hours.
That's what it
And
is.
each 24 hours just build up and build
Yeah.
up. And next thing you know, the weeks have turned into months and the months have turned into years.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to take another break because when we come back, I want to talk because it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I'm going to talk about the contributing factor of alcohol
Okay.
in that. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jim. Want to give you a thank you and a shout out to Church on the Rock and Massage by Natalie. Thank you so very much for sponsoring today with Pastor Jay. As I mentioned before the break, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And, you know, alcohol is a contributing factor to many domestic violence incidents. You know, I mean, alcohol-related
Yes.
deaths.
Yep.
And I know in 2016, there was about 90,000 domestic violence deaths worldwide.
Right.
Just because of alcohol was involved, you know?
Yes.
And then when you think about the drug use, the related murders, 32% of murders in the United States, alcohol plays a role.
Yeah.
Right.
That's huge.
It is.
Huge, huge, huge. And alcohol can contribute to domestic violence by causing behavioral changes, such as increased aggression, impaired judgment, cognitive function, lower inhibition, and self-control. Alcohol can contribute to a lot. And Will, you talked about that, how you had these great careers.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so low income, unemployment, you can't keep a job.
Right.
You know, which causes excessive financial stress. And you're like, oh, let me pick up, you know, a drink here. Childcare problems, family stress,
Right. Exactly.
but
I will
poor
say,
mental health,
I'm sorry.
you know?
That's a big one.
I will say that it does work both ways, though.
Mm-hmm.
People don't look at it. It just looks at it as the man beating or abusing a woman.
Oh, no.
But it does work both ways.
It
with the-
absolutely does.
You know, and
I've
it
seen it.
destroys a marriage. It destroys the man itself. It does work both ways, and I don't think that a lot of people talk about that. It's always like about the man.
Yeah, but
you
there
know,
are women that
Yes.
definitely are abusers, and I've seen it happen.
Yes.
I have seen it
Right.
happen, unfortunately. But I'm grateful that you guys came on the show to bring awareness to this subject. And again, Pete, those of you who are listening, just look Flagler County. You said there's an app. You can download the app.
Yeah. There's we have an AA meeting app that you can download. It's real easy to find. I can't remember the exact name of the app, but it's very easy to find. It's got like a dark blue logo.
With a chair.
Chair.
chair
It's
on
got
it,
a picture of a chair on the logo.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, I just want to say too, you know, my heart goes out to anyone involved in any domestic violence, and of course, you know, we see it and hear it all the time, right? You have to immediately get out of those situations and seek help. You know, I was a police officer in my early 20s, and so I can, you know,
probably have seen a lot of that.
just like
and a
just,
lot of alcohol related domestic
absolutely,
violence.
and just like you as a pastor,
oh,
you
my
know,
goodness,
right? I mean, I'm
see
sure
it.
that you,
It's in the all the time.
and you know,
Unfortunately,
I would say
yeah.
probably 5 out of the 6 out of the 10 calls that we got dispatched on, you know, were domestic violence calls, and yes, almost all of them were fueled by alcohol and or drugs, right?
Wow.
So it's just heartbreaking.
Well, thank you guys again,
Yep.
Andy and Will.
Thank
You're
you very
welcome to
much,
come.
Pastor
Thank
Jay.
you.
You're welcome to
Thank
come
you.
by. And guys, you know, to get help, you can always call 844-714-7186. That's 844-714-7186. That's the alcohol abuse helpline, so that you can get help. All right, guys, you know what I say? Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to do a self-help check to see if you need to go to AA. How about that? God
Yeah,
bless
let's
you.
do it.
Yes. Have a great day.
Thank you.